Hello. Alrighty. Gonna just move this. Reduce that. There we go. Okie dokie. So, something you might notice that it's changed. Oh, hi everyone, it's me, Tav. Anyway, something you might notice is this new little box over here. The chapter stats box. I introduced that just because there's some stuff hidden by the little banner down here, and I wanted to make sure that some information was kept up top because as we read, I want to keep some of it readily available. And that's enough because I'm very bad at speaking for myself. I always a lot. So, alrighty. This is chapter 5 of Violet Prelude, which is the first arc of the series and of the Cataxines, and it is entitled Let It Be. So it's another Beatles callback. The first chapter was A Day in the Life, and here's Let It Be. I think the Beatles actually make a return in the other arc, in the next arc as well. I think they make a couple of returns. That's okay. Their music tends to be pretty relevant most of the time. So let's just see. This chapter contains 9,345 words, and I originally published it July 2nd of 2019. Wow. Wow, things were a lot different back then. Sorry, I'm always yawning when I start these streams. It's terrible. All right, so and something about the numbering system. I'm calling Prelude and Violet like a not the first arc, but like the introductory arc. I mean, I might change this to 01 and then the other one to 02, but it's just this one was like the alpha stage, the first setup, so I call it 0. So arc 0, I guess. And this is part 5. And it goes up to 11 in this particular arc, so. I gotta yawn one more time. Oh my goodness. So let's see how we can do this and how much I can stay on topic without going off too far. I'm actually going to move the screen slightly to the side because there's a timer. I'd like to see that timer. Okay. Alrighty, so let's begin. Moving my microphone real quick, I'm sorry. Okay. Alright. Think we're good? No cats? Alright, let's go. In a gust of wind, he stood out on the precipice behind his home. The building stood like a shadow of itself, cast entirely in a dark, featureless shroud. Up above, the moon glowed with a fearsome violet intensity. Large and daunting, it seemed to be drifting closer and closer to what had now become an island. The house was gone. The small cliff became all that was. Surrounded completely by violet stars and lit by a growing amethyst moon, this could not have been reality. What do we have here? Nope, that's okay, sorry. Also, Grammarly is still working on and off, so not sure what's going on there, but hopefully it'll work the rest of the way. But to Silas, as confused as he was, this was as real as anything else. Nothing that told him it was fake registered. Nothing that tried to pull him away from the edge of the abyss could tell him it wasn't real. Wake up. Spinning around in circles, the stars were swirling like a wild time-lapse of reality. His blurred vision finally landed on a lone shadow standing on the far edge of the platform. Now, I'm going to just check real quick to make sure this is the right shade of yellow, because while we're here, we're going to fix that up if it's not. As you can see, I've Googled that before. I believe that's the code I've been using. Nope, I think that one looks more familiar. Fudge. I'm going to have to go to another chapter and steal it. But for now... says this. This looks vaguely familiar. Let's see what we get. I think it's a little... let's just unclick this. We're going to go ahead and custom. Let's just see what that looks like. Where's my undo? Whatever, we'll put it here. We'll put it in here because I can fix that back. Yeah, that looks about right. I'm going to go the extra mile and open another document real quick. It doesn't save the colors you use, but I'm just gonna do a quick... Don't ignore me and my bullshit. Here we go. We're gonna just open a new... We're gonna minimize that. We're gonna take this. We're gonna take that. Nope, sorry. This, that. Let's go for that. FFD. I believe that's what we ended up with, huh? Let's... F5 or any of those. FFD. Nope. I'm going to take the F5AE because it's closer. And is it closer? Hold on. We're just going to go ahead and do that. Looks a little orange. My desktop. Oh, you can't see my desktop. I want this to be small. Let's come over here. Yeah, that's too orange. So this must be the right yellow. It's just wrong. Which means now I need to undo it back to... There we go. Okay. Spinning around in circles, the stars swirling like a wild time-lapse of reality. His blurred vision finally landed on a lone shadow standing on the far edge of the platform. Why are you... Yo! Computer, what you doing? Oh. Is it because I've got 2 focus points right now because this exists? We'll close that. I also have some other stuff open on the bars that probably shouldn't be open. Anyway, why are you so weird? Muttered, staring down into nothingness. The sound of crashing waves began filling his ears. It was a deep, distorted sound, but still vaguely resembled nature itself. Weird? The shadow shook its head. Weird? That's not the right word. Why are you such an abomination? The shadow turned to face him, and while he could still make no discernible features... Yep, there we go. His mind immediately told him it was Daniel. Dan? My dad, the freak, the monster, the outright monstrosity, the shadow laughed. How could I have been so lucky to win the lottery with such a terrible parent to call my own? Wake up. You know, it chuckled. Every time I look at you, all I see is a mother in denial. Wake up, Daniel. Wake up. You want to be something you aren't, and I play along. But do you have any idea what that does to me? Playing your stupid little game. Why can't you grow up? I had to, and I'm supposedly still a kid. But I had to grow up, so I could support whatever's wrong with your stupid head. It turned back to the cliff, and I'm tired of it. Don't listen. It isn't real. I'm going to assume it isn't real. Wake up, Silas. Dan, a maddening grin widened across his lips. Look, you're right, okay? Just please. Come away from the ledge. We'll figure something out so you don't have to stay here with me. The shadow scoffed. That aside, who brings a child into a place like this? It's not just your toxicity wearing me down. It's the literal poison I breathe every day, and you know whose fault that is. He glanced over its shoulder. It's mine. Dan, it's all my fault. I know. I hate it here. It stared down at the raging ocean, and I hate you. This is not real. Silas laughed nervously. I understand, really. But we can work this out. I just come away from the ledge. Come on, Dan. I might not be your father, but I'm still your parent. I still love you. I'll always love you. The shadow shook its head. Right. Come on, Grammarly. Pop up so I can just quick click. Yeah, whatever. You're not going to work. It's too late. I'm going to put the it's in there. It's too late. It took a single step forward, falling over the edge. Daniel, Silas screamed at the top of his lungs as he threw himself over to the edge, reaching down for his falling son, but it was too late. A body laid in vivid detail at the bottom of the cliff, tangled in jagged rocks. Daniel, Silas bellowed. Daniel, he called, till his lungs gave out. Daniel, he hissed, though. That is, though no sound came through. Okay. Daniel, he breathed, his voice nothing but a hushed lament of pain and anguish. We're going to take the caps off that, I think. It's not real, Silas. A voice coming from the nothingness behind him, jumping to his feet and spinning around, he found himself alone on the island. My son is dead because of me. I killed him. He had once more found the strength to scream. Salas looked down the cliff. Waves lapped the blood seeping from his son's body, moving him ever so lightly like a limp doll, left to the mercy of nature's tide. Reality and rationality were gone again. My son is dead, he breathed, and it's all my fault. He fell to his knees. Oh, Daniel, he wept. Failed. How could I let this happen? Been so blind, sobbing to the point of desiring his own destruction. Sorry, I banged my mic. A rumbling shook the rocks beneath him. The stars seemed to fall from the sky, streaking brilliant rays of light behind them. The island was lit with a brilliant... We're going to call it blinding this time. Was lit with a blinding light as the moon came ever closer. Staring down at his son's body, he watched in apathetic vacancy as tendrils shot from the corpse, a brilliant golden yellow contrasting his violet world. The body was carried up along their length until it was pulled apart in a visceral display. Salas could do nothing but stare at the blood dripping down the tendril's length, the minuscule drops of flesh hitting the ocean below. He couldn't run, he couldn't scream, he could only stare. Without a thought, he rose to his feet. His son was dead. He had to join him. He had to be with his son. The tendrils floated like waves, inviting him to take the final step, beckoning him toward his son's remains. Now resided in the ocean's boiling depths. Beckoning him towards the son's remains that now resided in the ocean's boiling depths. Okay, Daniel, he breathed. I'm coming. It's not real, Silas. Do not listen to it. It wants me to put a comma there, doesn't it? Nope, it just doesn't like his name. It never likes his name. But then again, it's the misspelling of everything. Air rushed through his hair. Sea spray bit at his flesh. He counted the seconds until he'd hit the bottom. Eyes tightly closed. He did what he didn't want to see it coming. All he needed was the knowledge that it was. Violet tendrils caught him mid-fall. Eyes shot open, mere inches from the jagged rocks below. His son's mangled and dismembered head smiling up at him. You can't do anything right, can you? It gurgled and spat as the waves washed it away. Daniel. He spun around, his tentacles in the tentacle's grasp. A shadow stood at the top of the cliff face. Let me go. Let me be with my son. It's not real, Silas. Oh, but it is real, little one. Do not listen to him. Don't you want to be with your son again? To be free of this anguished state? This is not real, Silas. Your son is in his bed, sleeping, just like you are. Wake up. Sleeping. The slow realization that none of this was real was cut off as yellow tendrils wrapped around his neck and legs. Come now, Silas. Be with your son again. Be with him in a place where you can be whole. Whole? It's all lies, Silas. The shadow on the edge yelled against the growing wind. But I want to be whole. To be a good father. Then come. Come join your son in eternity. Be free of these mortal coils. Be free of the nightmares and the doubt. Be free. Come to me. To him. Be free, Silas. Be free. Silas. A yellow tendril began forcing its way between the violet folds of the ones that held him from falling the rest of the way. His consciousness began slipping from him. The jagged rocks formed into rotten teeth as the gaping maw opened beneath him. The ocean became a pool of salivating liquid dripping from the edges of the jaws. Come to me, Silas. Be whole. Be free. Silas. The shadow groaned as it struggled to keep its hold on him. Giving in, he allowed himself to be completely taken hold of by the yellow tentacles. The violet ones were forced to release. His will to die had won out. Good. Good. The voice echoed in his mind as he was lowered into the jaws of death. Rest now. Be free. Silas. Silas, listen to me, please. Your son is safe. This is not real. Please, do not give in. Do not. The yellow tendril shot up, slamming itself into the shadow's mouth, sending it reeling back out of sight. Something about the cry of it being thrown to the side triggered a sense of familiarity. Gytax? He muttered. We're going to go ahead and put Silas in there. Silas muttered as a tongue coated in saliva reached up for him. Silas, the voice was in his head now. Gytax. It was too late. The jaws had closed around him. The tendril that delivered him inside slipped out, releasing him. to his fate. Rest now. Rest. It was an easy command to follow in the damp heat of his demise. Silas. Kytax. He groaned as he could feel himself slipping away from consciousness. Daniel is alive. Dan? I'm here, Dad. The voice called from deeper inside the nightmare's bowels. Come with me so we can be together forever. Forever. He dragged himself to the back of the mall. Daniel is alive. This is a dream. This is a dream, Silas. If you give in, you will die. And if you die, your family will die too. Everyone will die. I'll die. Do not listen. Don't give in. They're still alive. Alive. I'm here, Dad. The voice coaxed him deeper, like a siren drawing him into the depths. Family forever. Just a little further. You're almost here. Family. His mind was so deeply addled he failed to notice his arms being pulled into the nightmare's throat. I want to. Darkness completely overtook him as the entirety of his body was drawn deeper to the point of no return. You're so close now, Daniel laughed. We'll be together forever, Dad, just like you always wanted. I think I just put an A somewhere accidentally. Well, I tapped A. It's somewhere. Daniel. His mind was gone. There was nothing left but the hot, salivating darkness. It was over. Silas was over. What little of him remained was willing to accept his fate. Silas, please do not give in. Do not listen to it. Welcome home, Dad. Ooh, I gotta get this yellow. Hold up. We're gonna use this again. FFF, yeah, that's the white. Oh, come the fuck on. Hang on, we're gonna do something real quick. Control. How do I do this? That was like a fat sample there. Okay. Oops. Ah, son of a bitch. That looks like the pretty good consensus of what it is. Okay. So this hex value on this, just going to sample it one last time. FFD659. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and now we're going to control, get the heck out of this because this is way too close. Okay. There we go. That matches, right? Okay. Welcome home, Dad. Dropped into a fleshy cavern, Silas woke for barely a second. He knew what was happening, but he knew that in the darkness, Daniel was here with him, together forever. It's not real. He can feel himself drifting off to sleep. You're safe now. Daniel leaned closer to him. Together forever. Through his heavy lids, he could see his son's eyes take on a golden hue. They glowed in the dark of the cavern, a maddening grin on his lips. Come deeper with me, Dad. Come deeper. The deeper we go, he wrapped his arms around his father. The closer together we are. Forever, Dad. Forever. Silas smiled. He was too weak to do much else. Good. Daniel grinned, wrapping himself tight around his father. No escape. There's nothing out there for you now. I'm here, and I'm all that matters. Together forever, right, Dad? Yes. Silence, darkness, nothingness. Silas, I know how easy it is to give in to a dream, no matter how destructive it could be. I know how enticing a promise of eternity is, and how irrelevant the price may seem. I have fallen into this trap, and for 1,000,000 years I have suffered the consequences. Perhaps I can never be free, but I will not allow you to suffer the same fate. A violet light filled the darkness as Silas's eyes shot open. Don't do this, Dad. You'll never see me again. You're not my son. Kytax? Kytax? Daniel recoiled. How? We are awake. We are whole. We will not be destroyed. Go away, Kytax. The yellow tendril shot from Daniel's back, slamming itself into their mouth. Biting down, they severed a piece of the fleshy appendage, swallowing it as they grinned uncontrollably. This dream is ours now. The violet sparks dance between their fingers. Together forever, Dad. Come with me. You are not my son. You never were. How could you be? I am the truth of all things, Silas. The voice was no longer his son's. The futility of this road you walk will lead you into nothing but misery. Please, let me spare you the pain of of a hellish future. Death and destruction are all that await you if you go down the path Kitex wishes to lead you. Death and destruction are all that I will find here. I'd rather try to fight it in the waking world than give in to a dream. Fool. They laughed. I'd rather be a living fool than a dead pawn. Slamming their hands into the shadow's form, a brilliant violet explosion evaporated the apparition. With the same force, they pressed their hands into their fleshy prison, coursing with every ounce of energy they could muster into their fingertips. They seethed with the searing pain of energy coursing through their body. I will be free. The sound of tearing flesh spilled around them as the yellow tendrils writhing above them collapsed into the sea. Reaching out with their own violet appendages, they took hold of the cliff face, raising themselves out of the depths. Why did it have to be you? The voice faded from their minds as the monstrosity sank beneath the ocean's waves. Climbing the cliff face, they threw themselves on the flat surface, fighting to catch their breath. They slowly sat up with a groan. You were telling the truth, weren't you? That Daniel is alive. They nodded. I think we need to actually keep this, because they're still talking amongst themselves as the one person. They nodded. None of this is real. But had you given in and died here, you would have died in the waking world. We don't need so many ellipses. That is how the dream affects us. The dream, they sighed. I know it's a little confusing. It is complicated, but for now you are safe. They sat a moment in silence. There might be a reason why I didn't do that. No, we're going to keep doing it. Oops. Oh, crud. There we go. I almost died. Their eyes began to burn. It felt like there was more than two. And I... They clasped their hands over their face, and I was willing to do it. I think what I might do is, for when Silas's side is trying to take, I'll turn off the italics. Yeah, we're going to go with that, because they need to stay slightly different, but sometimes they are the same person talking to themselves, so that'll do to keep a differentiation in dialogue patterns. No matter how little sense they make to the waking, rational mind, dreams can be more real than reality itself when there is no reality to compare them to. You believed what you saw, and seeing to mortals is proof of reality. Therefore, you responded accordingly. But to die, to kill myself. Nope. No. I haven't even considered that option since Daniel was part of my life. Part of my life since Daniel. There we go. Became part of my life. A little better. Dreams can bring out the worst of mortal consciousnesses. Dreams can bring out the worst of mortal consciousness. Okay. Subconsciouses. I suppose. They examined their hands carefully. They didn't belong to them. Silas slowly came to his senses. Standing up, he looked down at himself. He was not himself, and yet he was. This isn't, it's not. The voice was much deeper than it should have been. It carried a gravelly tone that rumbled in his ears. Oh, we actually identified him as Silas, so we don't have to actually do this now. would you like to see yourself? This isn't me. Who am I? The brilliant moon became a mirror, hanging. Good Lord, I must have typed some of this on mobile. Excuse me 1 second, I'm so sorry. Okay. The brilliant moon became a mirror hanging in the pitch black sky. There, Silas saw himself. For the first time in all his life, he recognized the person looking back at him. It's me. Krytax grinned behind Silas's watering eyes. I did my best. His voice had returned to the recesses of Silas's mind. I took some liberties based on extrapolation, but it's me. I'm me. Do you like what you see? Silas stood staring at the mirror-faced moon. He knew this person. It was the one he had buried so deeply inside of him for so long. Never had he even dreamed that he'd ever see this face reflected back at him. Extra weight and all, much less with a writhing wreath of tentacles surrounding him. It's me. He straightened his shirt and tightened his tie. He sighed, the me I wish I could be. A warm, comforting feeling drifted up from the back of his mind. This is my offering to you, Silas. This is the bargaining chip I place on the table. All of this can be yours if you free me from my prison. Yeah, there's no need for comma there. Tell me. His voice was weak as he kept his head craned upward facing the moon. Tell me, Krytax, please. He looked under his hands. I know you have no reason to tell me the truth, especially if you are some kind of ancient evil, but please, tell me. Tell me you aren't actually evil. There was a moment's pause before Krytax finally spoke up from the depths of his consciousness. I know little of myself and my disposition. I must have spelt that wrong. Oh, yeah, there's an I missing. Our disposition to the universe. I have been in prison for as long as I have been conscious. I know I hold resentment toward mortals. I know I care little for their lives as a whole. But I do know that in my time, trapped in mortal confinement, I have found some mortals to be comforting. As though they understand my anger and resentment. Outcasts. Those who society reject, they become my kindred. They become my kin. I know not if I am evil, as you suggest, but I know not what evil means. I merely know intention. I merely know intentions, and my intentions are simple. I wish to be free. That is all. I know not what I will do with my freedom, but I cannot stay on this dead world for much longer, or I will perish, or I myself will perish. I do not want to die. Silas smiled into the mirror, running a hand across the stubble on his chin. Then I'll take your word, though I cannot entirely attest to being well-meaning. Silas shrugged. That's something we'll figure out over time, if you will let me. What choice do I have? You always have the choice to leave this place. Your mortal companion was correct. If you leave the mist, I believe you will be outside my influence. You can leave. The choice is still yours to make. With a heavy sigh, Silas looked down at himself once more, gently patting his belly. But what has running away ever done for anyone? It led to the extinction of my captors. Then I suppose I should avoid that. As I said, I know not my true intentions. I know not whether I am what you mortals call good or evil. I only know that I exist, and my sole desire is to leave this place. What that will lead to, I do not know. Should we find out? Silas turned to find his house coming back into focus. The moon was drifting away, the stars were sliding back into place. I would like that, but the decision forever remains yours. How will I know when or how to get to you? When? Sooner than you think. How? My gift will lead you to me. It will have no choice but to draw you back to its point of origin. The only thing you'll have to do is take that final step through the threshold. Because I don't need that comma. I think I was going for speech emphasis. That's why I have a lot of commas where they don't belong. So I kind of go for speech pattern emphasis at certain points. Oh God, I'm sorry. Boop, 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 boop. Okay. The rest, there was a brief pause, will fall into place. And let's say I get there and decide I have changed my mind. Then I will send you home. But the catalyst that will send you to me will still be waiting on the other side, and you will have to face it alone. Alone? Your family cannot help you in this instant. Were they to try, they would surely perish. What's going to happen, Kytax? What do you know that you are not telling me? Silas's eyes narrowed as doubt slowly crept into his mind. I'm afraid I have not more than a feeling. Though I hope this dream rings as supporting evidence. True, he looked over the side of the cliff. I was just eaten alive. And you understood it to be real. It will only get worse from here. I see. Silas's mind wandering to the safety of his wandered to the safety of his family, of Jaren and Daniel, of the people he loved more than anything this world had. Grammarly, help me. Why is this wrong? More than anything else this world had to offer. I mean, it's weird backwards English, but I don't think it's like... I think it's okay. I can't rationalize that one, so we're going to continue after this yawn. Alright. I know you want to protect them. I'm not certain my presence would be enough, but at the very least, you could stand between them and that which would destroy them. Silas laughed. Now you're just saying what I want to hear, and showing you what you want to see. The irony of it all is that I share similar desires. That is why, dear Silas, we have been drawn together. I'm certain of it. Your truth could easily be my truth. We are more alike than you think. The brilliant moon faded into the darkness of the sky. The stars twinkled across. Before fading out completely. A strange sound seeped into the air, a simple chime, distant yet familiar. Oh! Get rid of the... A simple chime, distant yet familiar. I believe someone is calling you. Silas woke with a scream, throwing his cell phone off his chest. I'm coming, he screamed over and over. Daniel ran into the room. Dad! His father's eyes were rolling around in his head. I'm coming. Dad, wake up. Daniel shook his father until his eyes finally focused. Daniel? His phone continued to ring, though his mind struggled to focus on it. Are you okay? Daniel's voice was shaking. I think his son retrieved his phone. It's Jaren. Silas had never moved so quickly as he did to take the phone from Daniel. Jaren, he said it. He gasped into a deadline. What? Oh, I see, he gasped. There you go. Damn it, he hung up immediately resenting. He didn't call Jaren, and he wouldn't resent Jaren calling him. Okay, this is... He hung up. A series of frantic texts came through. And I love these. I'm gonna get back to doing this eventually. Dad's gone. Please, Sai, please. I need your help. I can't find him. I can't find my father's Sai. Help, please. Silas stared at the texts for what felt like an eternity. What's wrong? Daniel could barely speak. Calling. Stay there. I'm on my way. Don't call, just come. Please hurry. Dad? Daniel's voice was shaking terribly. Get dressed. Mr. Miles is missing. Woo! I'm going to go ahead and just press that little update button. Oh, it's going to bring me back to the top of the page. Fudge. Alright, anyway, continuing. We're back. This could go away, thanks. God, it's not even that late. What are we at? Half an hour, says YouTube. Or, well, 36 minutes, says YouTube. And there's more noise downstairs. I thought I was over that. I'm gonna mute myself just a minute. Nope. Yeah, you can hear that. Why do people have to be so freaking loud? Anyway. I'm going to attempt to continue. Hopefully the sound of my voice will override all the banging. Jaren paced the living room floor, biting his nails incessantly. How long has he been gone? Silas leaned against the wall, struggling to stay calm. He was wearing his work clothes from the day prior. It was the quickest thing he could put on. I don't know. Jaren pulled on his loose. I'm going to actually spell these out. I don't know. I'm going to have to figure that out. I don't know when he left. I don't know where he went. He's not here, Sai. He's just not here. Jaren pushed himself away from the wall. He pushed himself away from the wall. Jaren, he put his hands on his partner's shoulders. Breathe. Please, sit down. He motioned to the couch. Daniel slid over to one side. Silas. Jaren's voice shook. Panicking won't help us find him. Shaking his head, Jaren sat beside Daniel. We're going to pause for a minute. Okay, it's quiet again. We're gonna continue. Oh, sorry. And of course, we open with a yawn. So up to 40 minutes. We're like third, maybe almost halfway through. Yeah, I'm really bad at guessing based on these scroll thingies. Wow. This. I'm so stupid sometimes. Yeah, we're almost halfway. Which is cool. Which means we'll get this done in a reasonable time. Alright. I'm going to try to pay attention to the YouTube cast because it is on a bit of a delay. So that's fine. And I have it on the lowest freak latency possible for no real reason. I don't think it needs to be that way. I just can't stand seeing it be behind me, but that's why I keep OBS up front so I can see what I'm doing live and it doesn't distract me or cause me that much confusion. Alright. Shaking his head, Jaren sat beside Daniel. Silas took up the last end cushion. You're right. I can't think straight. This isn't like him. When did you last see him? When I got home last night. 10 o'clock? He was asleep. Sigh. Just asleep. I tried to wake him up, but I don't know. He pressed his face into his hands. I lost Mom. I can't lose Dad, too. He's not lost. We'll find him. He can't have gone far. Yeah, but this place. Who knows? Portals and monsters, and Jaren sobbed. We'll find him, Jer, I promise. We'll find him. Silas wrapped an arm around Jaren's shoulders, rubbing them gently. Why would he do this? Why would he just wander off like this, without a word? The man who can't let me breathe without knowing how busy he is, Jaren groaned. It's not like him. Dad doesn't sneak around. He announces every fucking thing. Making breakfast, taking a shit. Dad never does anything without making a big deal out of it. Silas tightened his grip on Jaren's shoulders. He can't have gone far. Yeah, but in this town. Anxiety mounted with every syllable. The Riftworks contains the monsters, Jared. Don't worry. I don't exactly trust Henley, but from what I saw, Silas visibly shuddered. He has them well under control. And what if it's that place? Jaren suddenly sat upright. Dad's always been very vocal about hating it. What if they took him away? What if they're experimenting on him? Jaren, Silas was trying desperately to calm his paranoia. There are a lot of sketchy, borderline barbaric things going on at the works, but Henley doesn't really give a shit about anything outside the facility. Dad said the place was an invasion point, that the government was actually protecting us, that the government wasn't actually protecting us, that they were trying to find a way to control the monsters so they could control the masses. Jaren muttered without a hint of inflection. Silas swallowed hard at the terrifying familiarity between Jaren's words and what Henley had shown him. What I saw. He was right, wasn't he? Jaren turned to Silas, a deadpan look on his face. That's why he's gone missing. They took him. They took my father. He stood up from the couch. Silas was quick to lunge out with his tendril, wrapping it around his partner's wrist. Jaren, let me be clear. Jaren turned to face him. I think Henley is up to something. But I'm sure it has nothing to do with the government, and I'm certain he'd never bother to abduct someone for crazy conspiracy theories. He's more the type to let the ramblings go uncontested so it doesn't look like some kind of cover-up. Jaren scoffed and shook his head, clearly not in the right mindset to see reason. Jaren, I know you don't want to believe me, but Henley really does have that place completely under his control. And I never said your dad was a nutter. I'm actually have to redo that. I keep forgetting. Jaren doesn't call his father dad. I'm just reading in silence real quick. Oops, got insert collect accidentally. But Jaren, I know you don't want to believe me, but Henley really does have that place completely under his control. And I never said your dad was a kook. Oh my god. I think it's over. Again. Okay. Bring OBS back up. Bloop. Okay. You can get in there, right? Jaren's eyes lit up as if a flame had ignited inside of him. What? Yes, of course I can. But Henley... Jaren shook his head. The front door isn't the only way in, is it? Silas thought a moment. A few vents and external ports, he sighed, but none are suitable for humans. Jaren's mind began racing again. He knew the main entrance was a no-go. The second Silas swiped his card, Henley would definitely be notified. They couldn't risk that. He snapped his fingers. What if he climbed over the barrier? Silas shrugged. Still can't get in from the pit without an access card. Henley knows the second they go through the system. Silence set in as they both scraped their minds for a practical idea. Why not just ask Henley himself? Daniel piped up from the couch. Both adults turned to him in utter shock. He's an asshole, Dad. But he's also weirdly attached to you, isn't he? Yes? Well, if you're certain he wouldn't be one to abduct people and someone there did, maybe Henley would know where to look. Jaren and Silas glanced between themselves and then back at Daniel. With a shrug, Silas reached for his phone just as he turned the screen on. A message came in. Something has happened. Come quickly. Yay, my little shitty little Riftworks artwork. Actually, that's a loaded image, and I love that it's subtly so much spoilers in that one little image, and I love it. Who's that? Jaren was certain he already knew the answer. You know what they say. Silas turned his phone to Jaren. Speak of the devil, and he doth appear. We still need to find your card. Jaren sprang to his feet. The panic and anxiety that had just settled shot right back into Silas. What if he'd lost his card? What good was it if he couldn't find... Wait, where did we associate that he lost it? Where did I establish that Silas was missing his card? I think that was an editing consistency error. I know there was an argument originally in here, a really bad argument. Okay. Moving my mic, sorry about that. Um, I think that covers it up. Fixes it up, alright. Okay. I'm gonna read what just got edited. Who's that? Sharon was certain he'd already knew the answer. You know what they say. Silas turned his phone to... Speak of the devil, and he doth appear. Well then, let's not keep him waiting. Jaron made his way towards the stairs. Silas felt his pockets for his card. I think my card's at home. I need to stop by there real quick. Do you know where it is? The panic anxiety that had just settled shot right back into Silas. What if he lost his card? What good was he if he couldn't find it? Oh God, he muttered, feeling the blackness of a shutdown coming on. Silas. Jaron took by the shoulders. Hey, we'll find it. That... He shook the pallid man gently. Or we'll just ask Henley to let us in. His phone chimed again. Another message. All locks have been defeated and protocol has been lifted. Just come in. Looks like the way's clear. Jaron strained, peering over Silas' shoulder. Think it's a trap? Silas turned to him, shoving his phone back in his pocket. Jaron shrugged. You know the guy better than I do. What do you think? Silas' mind ran through his lexicon of knowledge about Henley. I know he's clever enough to spring a trap, but I also know he wouldn't have to stage it so hard if he only intended to deal with me. All he'd have to do is call me in. Not strip the security system. You believe he did that? Why would he bother lying about something like that? Silas turned to his son. Stay here, Dan. If something goes wrong, just Jaron knows what to do. I'll text you. Our word. You'll understand. Goes wrong? Daniel slid off the couch. You're just visiting work, right? A deep sigh emanated from Silas's delicate frame. Everything Kitex had said about a life-changing or life-ending event came back to him. He was certain at this point that it would have something to do with Henley. I'd just like to be prepared for whatever might occur. Daniel settled back down on the couch, taking his phone in his hands and holding onto it for dear life. Silas' phone dinged with another message. Please, hurry. This never should have happened. Please, Silas, I need your help. What is it? Jaron tried to peek at his phone, but Silas turned the screen off before he could. Something must be very wrong. Silas turned to Jaron, fear in his eyes. For Henley to beg me for help. A lump formed in Jaron's throat. You don't think that... I'm actually going to hyphenate that. Yeah. Silas shook his head. It's best not to jump to conclusions, but we should hurry. I'll drive. Jaron ran for the stairs. It's right down the road. Silas? He paused a moment. You and I both know what we might find there. Swallowing hard, Silas gave him a nod. He turned to Daniel before following out to the truck. Stay put. Everything's going to be okay. Daniel nodded, hugging his phone closer to his chest. Sure enough, as they pulled up to the riftworks, the front hatch was already open. Inside, red emergency lights swung around in their mirrored chambers. Before they even set foot inside, they could hear an automated system chattering through the distortion of system failure. Warning, Riftworks security compromised. All protocols have been disengaged. Specimens may be loose in the facility. Please evacuate through your nearest one-way emergency exit. Thank you, and have a nice day. Listen, Silas turned to Jaren. Something might go very wrong in here. Jaren shook his head. If it does, I need you. Silas paused a moment to recollect his thoughts. I need you to protect Daniel, that's all. Just make sure my son survives all of this. Nothing's going to happen, Silas. I can't be too sure. They both looked into the chamber and its flurry of red lights. I might be going away for a while, maybe forever. Sigh. He laughed nervously. I might come back, but, he sighed. But, look, if I come back, I might not be the me you know. What? Silas rubbed the back of his neck. If I go away, I'll be going to Kytax. God damn it, Silas. And if I get that far, I probably will come back, but, his voice started wavering. But you might not recognize me. What do you mean? Silas shook his head. Kytax, he promised me something I want. Something I want more than anything else. And I already know what you're thinking. What if Kytax hijacks my body and comes back? So here, I'll say this. Maybe he can mimic my memories and answers, but it'll be the small things. The small, barely noticeable things that'll let you know it's really me. Silas, just know that if I come back looking different, I wanted it. I wanted it with all my heart, and I know it won't be easy to accept me, but please try. Jaren laughed. How different could you be? Silas cocked his head to one side, polar opposite of what I am now. A big fat guy, Jaren chuckled. Maybe. The laughter stopped. Really? Silas pursed his lips. It's on the table. Really now? Silas laughed nervously. Sigh, you can be whatever you want to be, as long as it's still you. The outside really shouldn't matter. You have to be who you want to be. Daniel and I will just get used to it, okay? I was hoping you'd say that. But on that note, Jaren pulled him close. You're not going anywhere today. No promises, Silas forced a laugh. Passing through the external opening, they found the interior hatch had been bashed open by something. It barely stood, dented and crumpled in the hall. What the hell could have done that? Jaren breathed. One of those monsters? Silas shook his head. It came from the outside. Nothing escapes the riftworks, much less tries to go back in. Prepare to be sanitized. You get it. Broken mechanical systems. Oh shit. Silas shoved Jaren into the hall, but failed to escape himself before the fine mist burst from the ceiling and walls. Wailing in pain, Silas crumpled to the floor. Without a moment's hesitation, Jaren reached in, yanking him out into the hall. Silas, he fought to catch his breath. I don't remember it hurting like that. Jaren peered over his shoulder. Light scorch marks dotted his tendril. Could it be that? Silas looked over his shoulder. I suppose that's the one thing that's changed since I was here last. He hissed as he tried to move it. God damn, it hurts. Jaren offered him his arm. Knowing he'd be a fool to try and stand up on his own, Silas reached out and took hold of it for support. Once he was up, he struggled a moment to catch his balance. Silas. Her merciful groan came over the intercom. Oh, dear Silas. What have you done? It faded into a whisper. Hobbling to the nearest intercom, Silas replied, I'm here, Henley. Where do you need me? There was a long pause before Henley replied, Observation, if you would be so kind. Silas dialed the communications directory for the observation before giving his own reply. On our way. Hour? Silas didn't answer. Let's go. He took Jaren by the hand and pulled him down the winding halls toward observation. No lights came from any of the study. No lights came from any of the studies or offices along the corridor. Everything was blacked out, save the red lights spinning in the main hall. Every so often, an open window shutter would allow the brilliant violet light of the rift to shine into the hall. Jaren found himself more than once staring into its swirling abyss. Here we are, Silas breathed. They found the normally maximum security entrance to observation completely gaping open. That's not normal, Silas murmured before turning to Jaren. I'll go in. You wait here. No. Jaren grabbed his wrist. I'm going with you. Jaren, there are a lot of terrible things that can be in this particular sector. Jaren shook his head furiously. If my dad's in there, He released Silas from his grasp. It's okay, Jer. Silas ran a hand down the side of his face. Come in if you want. I just wanted to see what Henley might have in waiting before he catches us both off guard. Jaren gave a slow nod. I understand. His gaze shifted to the floor. Still, my dad. Squeezing his shoulder, Silas led Jaren into the locker line hall. They didn't have far to go before they saw what they'd feared most. In the revolving crimson light of the emergency systems, they caught a glimpse of Henley standing over something in the pit. His gaze completely locked on whatever it was lying at his feet. I see, he muttered, looking through the window. How unfortunate. He looked up to face them, stepping away from the form. The lights revolved a few more times before what it was became clear to them. Yep. Jaren slowly entered the pit of observation. This should have never happened, Henley whispered as he slowly moved to Silas' side. He reached into his lab coat before slipping something into Silas' hand. He entered with this, and somehow fooled the biometrics. Silas glanced down at the piece of firm plastic that now rested in his hands. I can assure you with 100% certainty he was not himself. What do you mean? Pops. Jaren dropped to his knees. Pops. He sobbed, throwing himself over the body. Not Poops. In this moment, you have a decision to make. Henley had almost managed a growl in his usually airlight and airy tone. Speak with me or support your mortal companion in his time of distress. What you do now will shape your fate. Glancing between Henley with all the answers and Jaren, his partner in distress, Silas saw only one viable solution. He knelt down beside Jaren, pressing his hand on his back, making a slow circular motion. I'm sorry, Jaren. He breathed into his lover's ear. How? Jaren wept. How did he even get in here? How? If I may, Henley took a step forward. You. Jaren rolled his head on his father's, we don't need that, capital F, father's chest to look at Henley in the eyes. You killed him, didn't you? A snarl etched in every inch of his features. Henley sighed. I know you mortals well, and I know there is no qualifier or justification I may offer you to lighten your judgment of me, so I will be direct. Yes, I killed your father. In an instant, Jaren was on his feet, lunging for Henley's wiry frame. Silas stood to stop him, but it was too late. In that same instant, a yellow tendril shot out to interrupt his raised fist. This is not the road you want to go down, Jaren. Jaren's eyes widened. How did you? Henley's eyes lit with a brilliant golden glow. I know everything about everyone who ever lived in this small town. I know how you survived my arrival. I know how you lived your life, trapped under the thumb of an elderly, ignorant mortal. Shut your fucking mouth, Jaren bellowed at, his fist still in Henley's grasp. I know your childhood. I saw it in your dreams. I saw your mother. Fuck, you fucking piece of shit. Jaren lifted his other hand, but was quickly halted in the same fashion as the other. I mean you no harm, Jaren. Truly, I do not. My war is not against individual mortals, but mortality itself. I have no interest in harming you, and I can assure you, I have no interest in harming your father. I had no interest in harming your father. Then why? Jaren sobbed. Why? He's just an old man. It was unintentional. Like hell it was. Jaren shoved his entire body toward Henley. I know you have no reason to believe me, but it is the truth. Void Lords have little time for lies, though some of us make a living fabricating them. My lie is grander than you will ever know, but in this minute, in this minute instant, I gain nothing from bending the truth. Void Lord? Jaren took a step back. The tendrils released him. Yes, I'm surprised you've not heard the term before. Henley turned to Silas. This is what you have been cavorting with for so long, Silas. A Void Lord. A dying one. One that is best left in the dark. A flash of hesitation shot through Silas's gaze. Oh, look at that. We never capped this one. I can stop it. Henley approached him, arms outstretched. I can exorcise the demon Kitex from you. You can be free, a free mortal once more, unburdened by the musings and nightmares of a dead god. That looks about right. Silas stepped away. Not now, Henley. You gave me a choice and I made my decision. With that, he took Jaren by the shoulders and led him away from the confrontation. Ever immortal. A small yelping sound came from within the observation chamber proper. Once more, Henley sighed. Kessetex, come. The creature Silas has known as Nine slowly emerged from the chamber. Jaren immediately burst into a scream. Get away, he sobbed. Get away from my... Nine retreated back into the chamber. What the fuck was that? Jaren could barely breathe. Silas placed a hand on the taller man's shoulder. It's okay. Nine is okay. Nine? It has a name? His name is Kessetex, if you must know. Henley remained standing still behind him. Funnily enough, he once belonged to Lord Kitex, but upon his betrayal, the spawn took to me for survival. A wise decision. Henley's normally rigid exterior gave way to a regretful sag. He had never been caught until we came here. Henley motioned for the creature to approach. He is a good and loyal beast. I didn't go through this chapter, apparently. How long this sat up? Well, it's been up since almost a year. Incomplete. Haha. One moment. Alright. Then why the hell did you keep him in a cage and use him to kill others like him? Silas snarled. Henley continued his trend of sighing in response. I had no choice. If I let the humans do what they wanted, he'd have been destroyed long ago. Your brand of mortals is particularly brutal, and I've seen my fair share of mortal monstrosities. Henley looked to the spawn with a grin on his thin lips. Kessetex. He raised its head, cocking it to one side. I hereby release you of your thraldom to me. It cowered into a wall beside Silas. Instead, I offer you Lord Silas, and only Lord Silas. Never again will Lord Kitex lay claim to you. Nine looked up to Silas. Both were in a state of confusion. Now, Kessetex, help them remove the body. Henley motioned to Jaren's father. Bring it wherever Lord Silas commands. Jaren screamed at the top of his lungs as Nine's back unfolded. I guess we can call it Kessetex now. We'll keep Nine. Nine's back unfolded, releasing a flurry of tendrils above himself. Inside, where the tendrils had been woven, Silas saw a brilliant light, much like energy he'd seen left by the spawns that died before. Ah, yes, Henley caught his gaze. His core. No time for lore and backstory, Silas. You made a decision in this hour. Perhaps another time. Tendrils faded from sight as he headed out of the chamber. How about this? He turned to face Silas once more. Should you return, you will have all the answers you could ever want, but in exchange, you will have to make a decision. And what decision will that be? Silas replied with a sneer. I think you know. With that, Henley disappeared into the shadows. Jaren held a piece of shrapnel, pointing it at Nine, screaming at him to leave his father alone. Jaren! Silas approached him, placing a hand on his white-knuckled fists. Nine is good. Let him help, please. You trust this thing? It belonged to Henley, the Henley who murdered my father. Did we forget that already? Jaren! Nine cowered away from him with a whimper, lowering its tendrils. Jaren slowly lowered his own makeshift weapon. Is it scared of me? He dropped the shrapnel to the floor. Nine retreated until its back was in a corner. It laid on the floor, cowering with its head. Covering its head with its mangled tendril woven paws. It laid on the floor, covering its head with its mangled tendril woven paws. Want to help. Silas could hear the creature crying. Only want to help. Do as Master says. Master says help. Want to help. He's upset, Jaren. And my father is lying dead on the fucking floor, Silas. Let Nine help us move him, please. You know we can't do it alone. Fine. Jaren stepped away. Nine? Name? Maybe. We'll work that out. Having a nice chat, are we? Jaren grumbled, mocking Silas's accent. Ooh. Shoot! I did consciously reference Silas's accent. I didn't realize that. I don't need to. I can get rid of that. I like this phrase, though, so I might leave it. Oh, no. Oh, God. Technically, I should remove that interaction. But that means I really need to go back and retcon some of Silas's dialogue. Oh, no. Like the stuff I fixed already to turn the accent off. Crap. Hold on. One second. Pulling up my notes. I need another notebook for notes. Where's my backpack? Right there. Okay. Hold on. I'm gonna go grab another notebook and I'm gonna transfer the notes into something other than my my planner, because I love this thing, but I don't really. I check it when I'm doing scheduling. I don't really check it when I really work out the story, because it's more just telling me what I need to do when on social media. You know, because that's working out. Okay. I'll be right back. I want to write this down. I want to write some notes. I'll be right back. Okay, we're back. Let me just make these notes really quick. New notebook, brand new. I filled the other. I actually filled the notebook, but it's just I like these. Hold on. I'm gonna say they're called Nemazine. Nemazine. Yeah. It's I believe of Japanese make. Yep, made in Japan by Marman. Actually, when I first started using Instagram, I was following an account that I haven't seen in a while for some reason. It's like I didn't unfollow them or anything like that, but it basically just shared interesting writing implements. It shared a couple that I actually really liked. Just you know, I think it shared some fun pens, some kits. I think it shared, it was just this guy giving a review of these different writing products, and he shared these Nemazine notebooks. And hold on, let me bring it up on. I don't know if I want to bring up my Amazon. I'll bring it up over here, and I'll pull it over to show you. And I did get it on Amazon. Because as far as I can tell, if I don't get it on Amazon, it ships from Japan and it comes weeks. But I could be wrong. But I'm going to go to my order. Oh, actually, let's go to Mnemosyne. And let me just look at this real quick. I think it's the newer version of this one. Is this the one I'm using? Yes, it is. Okay, so I'm just going to pull this over to my screen real quick. Okay, so this is it. I love these notebooks, $8.90, and that's exactly what it looks like. But I cover mine with stickers. It's got some. We're going with a kind of an Illuminati feel on this one. The other one was more like Cursed Nature. This one's a little more Illuminati-ish, and yeah, it's got this. I don't know what the yellow page is for, but I love it. It's great. On the original one I had, it actually had fun little diagrams of like people using it in different settings. And it was in Japanese, so I couldn't read it. But I adored that little feature. This new one doesn't have that. It perforated. It's grid paper. Does that show? Actually, I think that's showing the blank back because the one side is no. It shows the grid. I think because one side is grid and the other side is blank. And yeah, it writes horizontally like that. And I don't have a little book. This is the only one I use. But I don't know why, but for some reason, it was the first notebook I ever filled, ever in my life. I completely jammed it full of stuff. And how many pages is this? It's only 70 pages, but it's wide, and I think I got like a year, maybe a little more notes out of it. And I used it on and off, but it's full of story stuff. I just shelved it away. I still need it, so it's in my drawer on my desk, so I can always pull it out and look at it. There is a lot of information in there. Going back to I don't know, all of the rewrites, everything I was looking into doing in the future. But yeah, if you like grid paper, I don't know what kind of person likes grid paper, but I know I do. I love this very much, and I don't think I don't think all of their products have a grid option. In fact, I'm pretty sure they don't. But the pages are smooth. It sucks ink in. I don't think I've ever smudged anything on it. It just feels really nice to write on, and I love it. And the price point isn't bad either, so I don't feel bad filling it and replacing it. Like it says, I've purchased it twice. Last time earlier this year. So, this is my notebook. It's my brain. It's what I use. I like it. Maybe I can actually turn my camera on real quick. Let me do that. What the heck? You don't have to see my face. You'll just get to see my notebooks. Not like there's anything to see. Actually, you're going to see my face, and I'm a little wary about that, but that's okay. Hold on. We're going to put this up here. Alright. So this is the old notebook. As you can see, stickers. Yay. Oh, I'm dyslexic, so that was hard to see. This is the old notebook. It is full. I have like pages rolled into it. I would sometimes write stuff to my friend and then like we Facebook chat and print it out and then just fold it into the notebook. We've got pages that are folded up. They're probably irrelevant, honestly. I think they're probably from a class I took at some point. But there is just so much stuff in here. And 99% of it... the pink notebook's missing. That was a lot of notes. That was basically the heritage of the Void Lords. I wrote up a whole little lore thing about that. So there's that. You just saw a glimpse of my face. So we'll close that one up. That's the old one. It is full. The last notes in it are about an RPG that I wanted to do at some point, like an online ARG RPG, so alternate reality role-playing game. And those, I basically wrote out what the classes are and their stat systems and stuff like that, but I have no idea how we'll implement that, but, you know. Ta-da! There's that. And here's the new one. Ta-da! That's the new one. And it is currently blank because I got it back in January, but I haven't done anything with it yet. So, I forgot where the stickers are from. I have a couple of Kickstarters I did back in a long time ago. Not that I can afford Kickstarters anymore. I used to be able to do Kickstarters and have money left over, but that's not how things are anymore. So this is the new notebook. This is the one I'm going to be putting my notes in. And yeah, I keep the little promo sticker. Oh, real quick on the other one. This one. I'm trying to hide my face. I think you already saw. Oh, banged the mic. Really sorry about that. The thing about this one that I like, that's not the new one, is... isn't it? Wait. Whoop. I'll flip it up. I just love it. It's like sketches of lifestyle type shots. I don't know. Again, it's in Japanese. I've never sought to translate it, but I just love this little aesthetic of having just these characters in there showing you how to use where they use the notebook. I just love it. It's absolutely adorable. It's my face, and I'm kind of a little not in great shape. And then again, the new one doesn't have that. Honestly, I kind of miss it. I wonder where that QR code goes, but I don't have a scanner. So, these are Nemazines. One side is grid. Oh, sorry. Yeah, dumbass. One side is grid, and the other side is blank. I don't know if you can really tell that, but that's how it is. And I used mainly the gridded side. Some notes go on the white side. But this is the notebook I use. It's the only notebook I use regularly. I'm trying to cover them. And it's the only one I've ever filled, so I like it. And if for some reason you might be interested in giving it a shot too, I recommend. So let's turn that camera back off so I can lower. Yeah. Alright. So let's open this up to the first page. Nice and blank and crisp and clean. And we're going to put today's date in it, 4/10/20. Oops. I also have a really old purple Sharpie that traveled with the old one. And we're talking like this thing's ancient. And it's finally feeling like it's giving up the ghosts, whatever. I can't tell you where, I don't know where they're. Oh, they're in my Targus bag. I have so many laptop bags. I have 20 of these pens. Every time I went to Staples for anything or nothing, even if I got nothing, I picked up one of these purple Sharpie pens, because sometimes they'd just completely disappear off the market, and they'd show back up for $40 for 5, and I'd be like, haha, no. So I am backlogged on these. In fact, I've got another one right here in my Kraken mug. So this is I'm gonna call this live stream notes. And first I'm going to copy over the old ones from my planner, because I am never going to remember these. I'm not going to really, that's not where I look, I don't look to the planner for these kind of things, so hang on. And I think I already explained the planner. Again, I'm not endorsed by anybody. Obviously, you see my social media. I've got nobody even looking at it, so there'd be nobody endorsing me or product placing, so don't worry. Don't worry. Maybe someday if I'm lucky. So let's see real quick. We're just gonna write up real quick. Chapter 3. Sharon's eyes are brown. I should probably make that little. And then chapter 4. They're hazel. Okay. Other things I need to note are chapter 4. Daniel is 13. Because his age fluctuates a lot. I mentioned that last time. I don't know how old he is. He's the one thing that's always caused kind of a timeline problem in the story. Mostly because I characterize him as being so mature. Either way, he's very mature for his age. But I don't know how old he starts at. I don't know when in his age Silas relocated. I don't know how old he is now. All I know for certain is that he's 2 years older because of what happened in the rift. He's 2 years older from here to the next arc. So I don't know how young I can force him down. I feel like 10 is the absolute youngest I can make him. Maybe I can push him down to 8. But I think I talked about this already, and this is getting a little off topic. But I'll have to. I had in the old notebook. I had so many different notes on Daniel's age and how he fit into the timeline. I'm gonna say he was no younger than 4 or 5 when Silas finally decided to make a break for it. So either he's been in the Lasombra for 5 years or 7 or 6. That's a long time. So maybe even Daniel was 6. That means that would make a little bit more sense. If Daniel was 6 when they fled, he spent 6 years in an abusive relationship. Then that means that he was in Lasombra for 4 years, which actually works out a little better. 2 years, and then 2 years kind of being a stranger, and then 2 years knowing Jaren, really becoming friends, and that adds up to 10. So that means he's 12 when the rift opens. So I just took those notes. Where are they? Why did I put that notebook away? What? Oh, it's underneath. So, oh yeah, and I mentioned this as well, so I'm actually going to turn my camera on again. I'm not endorsed by these guys. I just grabbed this because, and also the cover catches everything. Every fingerprint, everything it goes near, scuffs it. It's a funky, cover. It's kind of matte. Alright, so this is Content Creators Planner. I know this is for retail usage, and I did kind of want to use it back when I was doing retail. Video's catching sound. Hold on, I might be reverberating. I apologize. Well, I didn't see the line moving, so maybe it wasn't. I just was screwing around. I was looking up like Push Journal and stuff like that, but that was really expensive, and I couldn't rationalize it because I didn't know how it was going to work, these 90-day planner systems. Of course, because Google and Facebook and everybody is watching everything you do and hearing everything you search for, Facebook recommended this Content Creators Planner to me, and it was a lot cheaper than getting a Push Journal. So I went ahead and picked it up. It was a 3-month planner, and I said, well, and then the year decided to kick me in the ass, so it took me a while to even get to it. And I did not know what I was going to do with this thing. It has a lot. And I wasn't quite sure how I was going to use it. But hold on, turn it around. Let me open this up. It's got some how to use it in the beginning. They offer a class. It's not that complicated. If you have a product you're trying to sell, it's pretty easy to frame stuff around it. But since I'm not selling a product so much as selling a source of entertainment, it's a little more abstract. Here's what I like about it. You get your 7 days all lined up vertically, and that makes me very happy because you can see everything at a glance, and there's a lot. And I mean, oops, sorry, I hit the mic again. There is a lot of room to fill up what you want to do with your different social medias, and this is why I like it. I don't use much of the rest of it, which means I'm kind of defeating the purpose, but this component, this whole thing, it really makes it for me because it's helping me kind of visualize my schedules and visualize what I want to see or get done. If that I like. And I've gone and tried to find like a regular old planner like this. Can't. So I began this month kind of in the middle of February or March or whatever, and it's going to go through the middle of April, but it's 30 days. So this is the first 30 days takes up like the first third of the book, and then at the end it has like a review section where you can kind of work out how you did. You can look at numbers and tally them all together, and I'm not doing very well, and I haven't even begun doing that. See, like at the end, I'm not doing this very well at all because again, product-based business is really what this is meant for. And I'm not a product-based business, and honestly, the Cataxians is I did go so far as to register trademark it, but that doesn't mean it's a business. So And my social media never changes. Doesn't matter what I do. I've been at this for 3 years and never changes. It's just how it is with me in social media. I just stagnate. I get to a certain point, and that's it. When it comes to all of them, and there's the back. You just saw my face. Sorry about that. There's the back. You know, their information. Again, not endorsed, not anything like that, but it's contactcreatorsplanner.com, and it's a 90-day planner, and I wasn't sure when I was going to use it or how I was going to end up using it, but we're using it, and I don't know where I'd be without it. This thing is my brain. I live with it on my desk, and yeah, see, it's got a funky material. It's got that really smooth, like vaguely skinny cover. I don't know. I like the way it feels, but I do not like the way it catches everything it goes near. So that's the Content Creator Planner. I use this incorrectly, but without it, I would not be getting anywhere near as organized as I am. And my Instagram is still a fucking sty, but I am pretty much going the easiest way by doing blog posts, but it helps me visualize, like if I want to change that, I want to reapproach it. Like I think 2 weeks from now, I have a whole new approach to posting, because I have to finish the round I'm doing right now. I just do. The problem is that my posting schedule is rigid. My posts are rigid. Some do good, some do bad. It's really quite random. And since I'm not like a lifestyle or a product, it's hard to create content. So it's purely out of my own brain. Just tear it out of my own, rip it out of my own butt. And that's what goes on. So that's my brain. I swear by this. It's not that it's helped me improve my social media. Again, I'm not using it correctly, but for me, it's helping me keep my social media rolling. And I appreciate that, because, again, without it, I'd be getting nowhere on anything. I'm still slacking on Twitter because Twitter hates me. Every so often, whenever I stop using my account, I get like 100, 200, 300, 400 followers, and then when I come back, I lose 1,000. It's like, thanks, though. At least Instagram is a little more forward about it. So that's it. I love it. I swear by it. Let's kill the video so I can keep reading. Okay, so this goes up here. Okay, and we've got the new journal here. And holy shit. Okay, this is chapter 5. I forgot why I got this down. Chapter 5. Jaren. Whoa, that's not how you spell Jaren at all. I was getting from like Glasgow kind of accent. Glasgow. Forgive me for not pronouncing it correctly, because I know I'm not. I actually have a friend over there. Okay, Jaren acknowledges that this is accent. I'm going to leave that in for now because my dumbass loves it, and I may yet go back and retcon all of Sal's dialogue. I've been being asked by my friend to help me do that. It just adds some extra bullshit to his character. Like, he came across the ocean and then came across the country, and he's pretty much going completely around the world. Hey, whatever. He's running very far from his problems. So let's do this. Having a nice chat, are we? Jaren grumbled, mocking Sal's accent. Oh, and how about a spot of tea to go along with such a pleasant conversation? Jaren would know this word and never lose it. That's not how you spell it. I think it's palavra. Yeah. Yeah, I love that word, palavra. God save the queen. No, that's not right. Palaver? Everybody in the UK is probably looking at me like I'm freaking an idiot, so. Wiktionary? I don't trust Wiktionary. Oh, shapes. Definitions.net. Oh, wow. These are some real out there places to look. Damn it. I used to know how to spell this. Palava Hut? No, get away from me. Palaver. It's not correctly English or any language. It's just weird slang. That's okay. Alright, wiping my eyes real quick because I'm getting a little fiery in the eyes. That happens sometimes when I stare at the screen too long. That's with the tinted glasses. And all that palaver. Jaren. Silas motioned with a sideways nod for Nine to retrieve Jaren's... Jaren! Oh! Jaren. Yeah, his... Opening his back up once more, Nine's tendrils wrapped themselves gently around the corpse. Be careful, Jaren yelled, almost on the brink of tears. Like a funeral procession flanking Nine, they made their way out of the riftworks. Pops was right about that place. Jaren's voice was breaking. No good will ever come of it. Ooh, minor foreshadowing. Yeah. Ooh, we're almost done. Daniel slid off his stool as they entered the diner, Nine right behind them, still carrying Jaren's father. Should I be worried? He motioned to Nine, not yet showing any sign of concern. Silas turned to find the eyeless creature standing with its head bowed. Not at all, Silas smiled. With a shrug that settled slowly, Daniel noticed the body wrapped in Nine's tendrils. Is that... Jaren looked away. Jaren, Daniel breathed. Dad, what happened? Henley, was all either of them said. Yeah. I knew he was bad. I just never thought. Shaking his head, Jaren made his way into a supply cabinet in the kitchen. Let's get this over with, he growled, handing Silas and Daniel shovels. After Daniel's rather unfazed reaction to Nine and a somber recapping of the morning's events, they all proceeded to do what had to be done. Everyone took a shovel as they moved to the dirt hill behind the diner. Nine rested Jaren's father on the ground under the bed sheets. Under the bedsheet shroud. Under a bedsheet shroud as he did his part in digging the grave. Jaren had chosen a spot next to an existing stone monument. A small arch of the headstone with only words, Jerica Miles, wife, mother. He always said, Jaren huffed as he threw a load of dirt aside, put me next to your mother. I don't care where I die, but I want to be with my wife when he returns. He? Silas leaned on his shovel. Jaren took another dig. Jesus. Oh, Silas felt like an ass for asking. Yeah, Jaren tossed his dirt aside. Dad, I'm not sure he really believed it. Wasn't he in the clergy? Silas moved a bit more dirt. Yeah, he didn't stay long, though. Would it be inappropriate if I asked why? Jaren leaned on his shovel once more. Jaren leaned on his own while Nine and Daniel kept digging. Nine was using his forepaws to scoop at the dirt and his back tendrils to sweep it out like the blades of a windmill. It was honestly bizarre and mildly upsetting, but Jaren wasn't going to turn down the help. It's complicated. He tried to blow whistles, but instead of the lifeguard coming, the police came. Who got in trouble? Not the fuckers sinning in the eyes of God. Capital G there. He is talking about the capital G God. But my fucking father, trying to call them out for their blaspheming hypocrisy. Jaren threw dirt aside in his welling rage. Tried to arrest him. Jaren spat on the ground. That was the day he stepped away from the church. That was the day I stepped away from the church. Dad lingered. He really wanted to believe, and I think he really did. I think it's man who he lost faith in. Silas gazed at the love of his life as tears welled in his soft hazel eyes. Hazel again! So we also mentioned Hazel in Chapter 4. Chapter 5. Rounding the hole they dug, he brought Jaren into his arms. I lost them both, Sigh. He slowly turned into Silas's arms. I lost both my parents. His voice shook terribly. What good am I? The tears finally burst forth. Leaning down into Silas's shoulder, Jaren Miles broke down. You didn't lose them, Jaren. Neither of their deaths were your fault, Silas whispered. running his hand along the back of Jaren's neck. Oh, bullshit. He pushed him away. I damn well did. My negligence got them both killed. Jaren. No, I don't deserve sympathy. If I was half the son I should have been, neither of them would be dead. But no. He slammed the back of his shovel into the ground, startling Daniel and I failed. Jaren, I failed them. I failed them both. Jaren dropped to his knees, his voice trailing off with exhaustion. What good am I if I can't protect the ones I love? That thought crosses my mind every day. Silas replied, his gaze drifting into the depths of the grave. Jaren turned to him, staring with his watery eyes. I have to think that all we can do is our best. Sometimes situations are beyond our ability, but as long as we do everything we can. Silas's vision turned to Daniel. Silas turned to Daniel. We can't do more than that. Silas retreated. He retreated to his side of the hole and began digging once more. Jaren remained in silent contemplation for a moment longer before driving his shovel into the soft earth once more. No one was sure how deep they'd dug, but the second they hit stone, they knew they could go no further. Daniel and Nine stepped back while Jaren stood over his father's body. He didn't say a word, only stared. Approaching him, Silas put a hand on his shoulder. You didn't fail anyone, he whispered. Jaren scoffed, shaking his head in remorse. Silas and Jaren attempted to lift the body, but they struggled to merely pick it up. But as they struggled to merely pick it up, they knew putting it gracefully in the grave would be impossible. Nine, Silas breathed. The creature looked up to him with its eyeless face. Can you place Yeah, we don't need the there. Mr. Miles's body in the hole we dug, gently and evenly. With a nod, Nine wove his free tendrils into something vaguely resembling a stretcher. Lowering it beside the body, it turned to Silas. Please place on. Please, Silas smiled. Of course, Jaren. Of course. Jaren? Yeah. Jaren was falling into despondence. Help me move your dad onto Nine's tendrils. Jaren sighed. This is all so wrong and fucked up, sigh. Jaren, everything about this. He turned to Nine. I don't even know what you are or what you want, but here I am trusting you to handle my father's body. What the hell is going on here, sigh? Jaren, Nine's a friend, whatever. Silas, it's a fucking alien animal. Nine withdrew its tendrils, cowering away from them. Oh, and I know I'm supposed to feel... now I'm supposed to feel bad? Bed? Jaren barked, my father is dead. Kicking the shovel into the hole, he stormed into the diner. Silas stood a moment, frozen in a void of emotions. He didn't know how to help Jaren. He didn't know what would be best, leaving him alone or... You should go after him, Daniel sighed, sitting down beside Nine's cowering form. Angry mortal, angry. Nine sat up a bit, but also sad, very, very sad, like Glassmaster used to be. You two stay here, Silas sighed before following Jaren inside. Gently closing the swinging door behind him, Silas found Jaren sitting at the counter, back heaving as he sobbed into his hands. Silas moved to his side with a little sound. Sitting beside him, he wrapped his arms around his shuddering frame once more. Jaren, he breathed into his ear. Jaren, none of this was your fault, none of it. Every time, Jaren sobbed. Every time I dare do something for me, someone dies. Someone I love dies. He gasped. Why? Why can't I just stop existing? Hearing his hands down his face, eyes reddening with tears. Not die, just... His gaze drifted to the fluorescent lights that hung above the counter. Stop caring about myself and what I want. His gaze settled vacantly, staring into the kitchen. People die when I think about myself. Ugh, how selfish could I be? He clasped his hands over his face. Silas's grip on his shoulders tightened. I need you to listen to me, Jaren, please. You know... Jaren turned to him, frost in his eyes. If you hadn't come along, I'd have never left him alone. Jairus pulled away in an instant. Jaren shook his head. Look, Silas, look. Silas laughed. Let Daniel and I help finish this up. Then we'll leave you alone, I promise. The fury in Jaren's gaze subsided. Covering his face once more, he screamed into his hands. Jaren... Silas screeched out to him, unsure if making contact was the right thing to do. No. Jaren tuned to the top of his lung. It's my own damn fault, all of it, every time. I'm the one responsible for my actions. I chose to take a nap. I chose to leave her alone. I chose to go into town with you. I chose not to stay by his bedside until he woke up. I chose not, he gasped. Not. He trailed off. I chose not to be the son I should have been. Jaren, please, Silas, he sighed from the deepest part of his soul. Please, help me. Help me end this. I can't. Lunging out of his stool, he took Silas in his arms. I can't do this alone, he sobbed uncontrollably. You don't have to, Jer. You will never have. You will never have to be alone. I'm here. You'll never have to be alone. I'm here. After the sobs subsided, Jared leaned away. I'm sorry I said those things. They weren't true. After the sobs subsided, Jaren leaned away. I'm sorry about those things. I said those things. They weren't true. Including the bits about yourself, Silas raised a brow. I don't know. Jaren sagged onto a stool. I really do feel like I failed them. Failed them both. You didn't, Jaren. You really, truly didn't. Staring into Silas's eyes, a smile crept across his lips. I shouldn't be smiling with my dad, with my pop lying out dead outside, but I am. He laughed. How horrendous is that? Silas rested hands on Jaren's tear-stained cheek. It makes you human. Once Jaren's raging heart had settled, they rejoined Daniel and 9 outside. Master is returned. Daniel stood up to face them. Hey, are you guys okay? Wiping the tears from his eyes, Jaren sniffed with a smiling nod. Oh God, Daniel leaned on his shovel. Oh good, Daniel leaned on his shovel. I'm not sure this is the time, but I learned a thing. Oh? Silas tried to keep the situation light before the inherent sobriety of the overarching event returned. I can hear the dog talking. Jaren threw his hands in the air. So I'm the only one who can't. I pet him a few times, and then boom, I could hear him. It was weird. Bet it was something like when Kitex talks to you, Dad. Silas laughed. Pretty close. Anyway, we talked about stuff and things. Daniel turned to the creature. He's got a lot to say. Like talking to listeners. Silas smiled. He turned to find Jaren standing over his father's shrouded corpse. I need to finish this. He knelt down, trying to take the body into his arms. Silas interrupted, motioning for 9 to assist him once more. The creature wove itself into another bed of tendrils. With a heavy sigh, Jaren invited Silas to come over to help him move the body. They watched in silence as 9 slowly lowered the body. Slowly lowered the body into the grave. Jaren could think nothing of the bizarre nature of this. Jaren could think nothing of the bizarre nature of the situation. He couldn't really think at all. Silas stood beside him. Noticing Jaren's vacant stare, he took hold of his hand and squeezed it tightly. He could barely hear Jaren saying something under his breath. I am the resurrection and the life, saith the Lord. He that believeth in me, though he were dead, yet shall he live. And whosoever liveth and believeth in me shall never die. He repeated the phrase over and over, nodding with every completion. Silas squeezed his hand tighter. Once the body was settled to the bottom of the earthen hole, the tendrils gently withdrew. 9 stepped back as Jaren approached with a handful of dirt. They all watched as he sprinkled it into the hole. Taking their own share of loose soil, they did the same. 9 unfurled his mandible-like tendrils and scooped up a tiny pinch of dirt, tossing it into the grave. Jaren smiled. Lord, have mercy on us, he breathed, shaking as he took his shovel into his hands once more. Silas and Daniel picked up their shovels. 9 pushed the dirt in with his snout. Our Father, who art in heaven, Jaren's voice began to shake. Hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. He trailed off, losing the words that should have been ingrained in him to the heart-shattering grief that took hold. The silence of the night was broken only by the moving of earth. A low hum came from Jaren, a song. Silas paused a moment to see if he could figure out what it was. It only took a few moments before he was humming along. And that song happened to, in fact, be Let It Be. So, yeah, that's the one death in the series. We barely knew Mr. Miles. We kind of knew him more from Jaren's angle, but actually, I think I'm gonna do something specific with this for WordPress or WordPress. So if you've tuned in, this is the next step since we finished. First we confirm it up here. Update. I never put the lyrics again in these because I'm always kind of uncertain of how Wattpad handles that kind of stuff. Again, it looks like that was double posted. Interesting. You know what? Actually, what we're going to do is cancel, and we're going to come back in and check it out real quick. That one. 9,200. Okay, yeah, no, it's all here. I just don't know why it... Yeah, it worked that time. Okay. So here's what we're going to be. We're going to start it by... Oh, that's right. We're overwriting. We don't have to create a new one. I would Control A, but then we catch some stuff I don't want to catch. Let's go to the bottom. Like the graphics. Ooh. Okay, so I put an extra space. Oh, it thinks that that stupid design is still there, huh? That thing won't go away, no matter how many times I fight it. Like I said, this was all originally written in a different word processor. No. It was written in the new block system that I absolutely hate. WordPress, the Gutenberg or whatever. I hate it. I hate it. I think this is the, quote, classic setup. Lets you change the text color. The Gutenberg would only let you change the entire block's color, and that just pissed me off to no rational end. Henley. There we go. Yeah, those are... Okay. Yeah, the art is still there. Maybe we'll take care of that before we sign off. See if we can at least. We're gonna have to go load up the site. Ooh, I know what I have to add. Just for reference, I adore this song. Most people do, I think. It's not exactly a unique opinion to like this song, but I adore it for a lot of reasons. Just like A Day in the Life, I love that. I actually, everybody goes through a Beatles phase, right? Most people do, at least, back when I was a kid, you grew up with cassette tapes and ripped CDs and stuff like that. So I don't really remember growing up listening to them. My parents didn't have the Beatles around, but they were my mother. I don't know. My dad really listened to. My mother listened to the Grateful Dead, and I they're good. They're fine. She also listened to Jethro Tull. I love Jethro Tull. And the Doors. I hated the Doors growing up, and my mother would always be like, "You love the Doors. You used to dance." I'm like, no, I fucking fall into a fit. At least when I had a conscious memory of it, I wasn't too keen on them. The Doors scared the shit out of me, and oh, Pink Floyd. I'm sorry, Pink Floyd. The Doors did, but the Pink Floyd definitely scared the shit out of me. Doors I just didn't like very much, but the Pink Floyd, I like Pink Floyd now. That's one you acquire, I think. So this is the first time I've actually put the lyrics at the bottom of the page because I think they're relevant. The story actually segues into the lyrics, so we're gonna go ahead and publish these changes. Yay! Let it be. All right, so that's 5 of 11. Not bad, fellas. What's our word count? Oh, lost it. 42-minute read. That's about what I was going for, honestly. Was instead of watching an episode of something, you read the story, but that changed with let's see how long they would quote this one to be read. I gotta view as reader. 21 minutes. So now they're half hour instead of 45 minutes. So I think that's reasonable too. So yeah. We'll look at that, 113 tentacles. Yeah, I'm falling. How many options are there out of what? 206. I got down to like 20 something at some point. Don't know how these work. Don't know how they're calculated. Nobody reads it, so nobody's like rating it, so I don't know. Anyway, now we're updated on Wattpad. And we've got Violet Prelude, Wattpad, and we're all set. And chapter 5 is done. I forgot how kind of a roller coaster this one was. So we're going to update one more time just to make sure I didn't fuck anything up. Cool. Close. And the next chapter is Wonderwall. Yes. Anyway, here's Wonderwall. I cannot fucking wait. I missed an opportunity to really ad campaign this one. Because, you know, the meme of Wonderwall. This one is 13,335 words. We might take this one in parts. That's a lot of friggin' words. I don't even remember how it ends. Oh yeah, relationship stuff. It's another good chapter with relationship steps. Few bumps in the road. Followed by Sympathy for the Devil, which is the showdown. Okay, and these are the returns. No. This is the dream. This is the return. So this is going to hell with Hen and Henley. This is arriving on Cataxia. This is dealing with the bullshit on Cataxia. This is the dream, and this is the return. Okay, and then we get into In the Stars, which... Oof. I just realized how dark this shit gets. And then how there's a lot of relationship issues going on in these. But I hope I don't, focus too deeply on it, because there's also plot involved. Plot progression still occurring. Back when I showed you the journals, I actually moved my... Okay, so I moved my mic to the side, so I might sound a little weird. Alright, so there's, I took some notes. That's good. Got my new notebook rolling. Put the first words down. I should fill it up with crap probably in the next few months. Okay, so hope this little thingy wasn't too distracting. I like it. I thought it was subtle. It didn't distract me. I'll be updating it every time we go through a chapter just to give the stats. This took about 2 hours. I did get a little off topic at one point, but that's okay. That's okay. It was a mild off topic, unlike last time. Alright, so thanks for watching, and see you next time. Alright, good night.